this is a very special place because it's the Brooklyn Bridge, and this is our lobster and fennel starter. It's almost like a lobster cocktail with avocado and fennel. And then with a beautiful terrine of beef. With look at that, it's almost matching my. We don't serve root beer with that, but the terrine of beef with beef tongue and also foie gras and a wine mustard vinaigrette.
Guys, we are in New York City, the Upper East Side, in fact. We don't come here often, but when we do, we come here for Chef Daniel Boulud. Tell us where we are right now, Chef.
Well, we're here in Restaurant Daniel. Mm-hmm. We're on 65th Street and Park Avenue.
Yeah.
And Restaurant Daniel is celebrating its 31st anniversary this year.
Wow.
So it's a milestone, I will say.
Yeah.
And all along those milestones, I got a watch here and there, so.
And now here we are with a table full of watches.
Well, a few of them, yeah.
And how did you make your way to New York?
Of course, I'm French. I am Lyonnais, which is from Lyon.
Uh-huh.
But in America, I've mostly been a New Yorker.
This is your home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I arrived in D.C., and for 2 years I lived in D.C. Then I moved to Manhattan, and I made the Upper East Side my village, which is not a shabby village.
It could be worse. So tell us a little bit, before we get into the watches, about your story. How do you become the chef that you are today, the legendary chef that you are today?
I don't know. I grew up in a town that food was maybe the epicenter of life.
Yeah.
And Lyon, I think every food culture is represented. It doesn't matter if it's a chef in a restaurant, chef in a charcuterie, chef in a patisserie. And I think the art of cooking in Lyon was a very important thing. And I had the chance to start in a very good restaurant at a very young age.
What was it called?
Nandron.
Okay.
And then DRN. And I did an apprenticeship for 3 years. And, you know, it's so long ago, but I still remember vividly exciting it was to be able to, as a young cook, discover things like truffle and foie gras. And I grew up on a farm, but depends on which region you are in France, you eat differently.
Right.
And if you are in the north of Lyon, you eat frog legs and crayfish. But if you're in south of Lyon, you don't have crayfish and frog legs. You don't eat them so much.
Right. So we're here to talk about watches. You have a few of them, more than a few of them on the table. Mm-hmm. It's clear you really like watches.
I do, and yet I often wear the same one.
And which one do you wear the most?
And for a period.
Yeah.
Right now is the Rolex. Absolutely. Root beer.
Yep.
And that's quite comfortable. I like to wear Rolex because they are the most comfortable, the most in the kitchen. You don't want a watch that take too much room.
Right.
That is too cumbersome to wear.
Right.
But when you are out and about, it's easy to wear any kind of watch.
Yeah, and so, I mean, Rolex is a bastion of the industry and certainly most collections. How did you acquire your first Rolex?
My first Rolex was this one.
Steel Daytona.
Yes. And I didn't acquire it, was a gift.
Really?
Yeah, from a very dear friend from Switzerland. It's a very sad story, but it's also a very meaningful gift for me. Because a young man, Andrew, was the manager at Café Boulud when I started 28 years ago, when I was going to open Café Boulud. I named him manager. He was from Switzerland. And for Labor Day weekend, he wanted to go to see his family before we opened Café Boulud. And he was in the Swissair flight that blew up.
Oh my God.
And so his father wanted to give me a watch too.
That's unbelievable.
I like to wear that because I love Andrew and we still miss him.
Yeah.
I see Hans and Barbara, his parents,
Yeah.
often, and his sister. And that's a
And that was his watch.
beautiful, yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, yeah, it was his father's watch, but was a moment of bonding.
Just a way to commemorate the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the most beautiful thing about watches, is that you have something so lasting for so
Yeah, very much.
So what are some of these other Rolexes you have on the table?
So the other Rolex, I think, is, I am always dedicated to support many charity. I have a dear friend in Toronto that appreciate everything I do for his charity every year for General Hospital, and he sometimes he like to be kind to me, and I guess he has better connection than me for Rolex, because otherwise I cannot get them. So to get the Pepsi, or they're very similar, but they all have a meaningful moment for me and Todd, and I always think about friendship together, and I always think about the things we have done together, and continue to support his cause, which he raised hundreds of millions for General Hospital in Toronto, and
wow.
So I think it's about friendship. It's about sharing, and for me, I share my talent. I share my team, my passion, and I think he shares his love for watch.
That's amazing. It's an amazing thing to share. And you work often, or you have worked, I should say, with a few brands in the industry. And the first time we met, you were doing an event for Panerai.
Yes.
And I see a Panerai on the table over there.
Yeah, absolutely. My first Panerai was this one, the ceramic.
Yep.
And Johann Rupert, the owner of Richemont, was having dinner in the back corner of the dining room there.
Yeah.
And he was wearing this watch. And of course, if I have the owner of Richemont coming here, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what are you wearing?
That's fair.
And he just told me that this watch just came out. It's unique. It's the ceramic watch, and I think Panerai was one of the very first to create a ceramic watch. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, can you help me get one?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, they don't produce too much, because at the beginning I think they were like 1 or 2 a month or something.
Right.
And he said, but let me work on it. And I think 6 months later, I got my ceramic watch.
Yeah. And there's a few Panerais on the table.
Yeah. And then this one, because I'm a big fan of Ferrari.
Yeah.
And thanks to Charles Leclerc, we won in Monaco last weekend.
I saw,
and I hope I'm going to Montreal next weekend.
Cool.
And I hope that Ferrari will be winning again.
Yeah.
And this came out maybe, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 16 years ago, and they had this series of a yellow, a red, I think.
Right. Ferrari colors.
Ferrari colors. And so I had to add a Ferrari watch, and I felt Panerai will be the good one to have.
I think so. And what is this Panerai down here?
But this one was for my 50.
Your 50th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Not bad.
A birthday.
Yeah.
And that was a gift from Panerai. I love that watch. The back is beautiful. I mean, of course, it's see-through, but this one also excellent watch when you travel with the 3 hands, and it's definitely a classy evening watch, but not so much a watch to wear in the kitchen, but also a classic Panerai.
Yep, it's a beauty. It looks like sports watches are really kind of your thing. I don't see too many Patek Philippe's or dress watches or anything like that.
Yeah, no, Patek, I'm still waiting to choose which one I want.
Okay, still working towards that one.
Yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be the crowning.
That's right.
Maybe I may have to sell everything else to buy a Patek, but
I think you'll be okay.
I always had a little bit of affinity for Cartier, because first I'm French.
You have to.
Most of the watch are made in Switzerland, and Cartier is French.
Yep.
Not that they make their watch in France, but when I arrived in New York, there was a Cartier boutique on 70 and Madison. And that's where I bought a gift and a watch for my wife, for my daughters. And this one, I think I was just, in good relation with them, and I wanted to wear a good Cartier, so I went to see the president and made sure that I could get a nice watch.
It's great. Cartier is very hot right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, really. For men in particular, Cartier is very in vogue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, truly. It's they've come a long way, for sure. Very, very elegant, kind of dressy watches.
Oh, but they always had very elegant watch. Some of them I don't like to wear them.
Yeah.
But my first watch when I arrived, that I bought in America, was a small tank, blue tanks, which I still have.
Yeah.
But they feel so small and so awkward.
It's a different class of watch, for sure.
But this one is classy. I mean, it's like this one. Also, it has enough gold, but not too much.
Right.
And it's just like the root beer. I like the root beer because just enough rose gold to it. It's good.
Just right. Just the right. And you have a big offshore from AP, which is a little bit different than a lot of the other watches here.
Yes, I like that. That's the summer watch, the sporty watch.
Yep.
AP does always beautiful watch. You wear an AP, today?
Today I do. Yeah,
Oh,
today.
you do?
I mean,
I like that one.
it's a nice one.
What's the name of that?
This is the Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar by John Mayer. So I actually just got this last week. So that's exciting.
And this one is, and that's why it's hard for me to get quiz on the name of every watch, because it's not like I study them every day.
You're better off, to be clear. Leave that to me. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't need to do that.
Do you know the name of that one with the padded brown back like that?
That's an offshore. Let me take a look.
Oh, pardon.
Might even say something on the back. This is just a Royal Oak offshore. I don't know that. I don't know that this has a name, but it's a great watch. These were the hottest thing around probably 10 years ago. I mean, these were super
at least I have that for. I'm not, except my Rolexes. I have not had too many new watch.
Yeah.
And so Hublot,
Of course.
the owner of Hublot, Jean-Claude Biver, come often to New York and come and see me. And I know the CEO also here in America. And I used to, less now because maybe he got in trouble, but he used to send me a cheese every year.
Me too.
Oh, yes.
Swear to God, yeah. We
I
used to
love
get them
it.
at like the size of this table. In the
Yeah,
office.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's there in the mountain of Jura, in the Switzerland,
Yeah.
and where Hublot produced.
Exactly.
And that was his way of saying thank you for being such a good friend.
So this is a perfect opportunity to fact check something. So Jean-Claude is an amazingly charismatic leader. I mean, truly iconic in our industry.
Absolutely.
He used to claim that cheese was so good it could be used at the best restaurants in the world.
That's why he was sending it to the best chef in the world.
Can you
telling
confirm?
you.
Is the cheese that good?
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely. It's it's so natural to begin with.
Yeah.
And he pays so much attention and care to this farm he has. And he knows the best chef in the world, and he wants the best chef in the world to wear Hublot. So, it's how much more can you convince a chef to wear a Hublot when you send him a cheese?
So the Hublot came from Mr. Beaver himself, the cheesemeister.
No. The Hublot didn't come. No, the cheese came first, the Hublot came after. I had actually 2 or 3 Hublot, and I gave some away.
Who did you give them to? Out of curiosity?
Well, there was a manager here, Pierre Sio, who started as a very young waiter here and grew all the way to become director of operation in our company.
Cool.
And he moved to Paris and he spent more than almost 24 years with me, or 23 years. So as a farewell gift, I offer him a watch.
That's super nice.
So I gave him a Hublot. And then also a maître d' Bernard that was with me. We worked together for more than 30 years.
Wow.
He was at Le Cirque as a maître d',
Yeah.
and he came with me at Daniel. And when he left, I had a sport watch from Tiffany that was a chrono. And I don't know, on a moment of softness, I just gave him the watch and said, this is... So I think watch is also about gifting.
Yeah.
It's not only about earning.
You mentioned Tiffany. Obviously, New York, another iconic New York brand. You actually have a restaurant in Tiffany now.
Yes.
And this is a Tiffany watch.
I know, and I love it. So that's a prelude to the Patek, maybe, because Patek is at Tiffany too.
Sure are. They sure are.
No, but this is a chrono watch from Tiffany. I think I got that pre-LVMH time.
Yep.
I had good relation always with Tiffany. We were doing a lot of events always, and at one point I wanted a nice chrono. So I guess with the president of the time, I told him that I'd like to get a nice chrono from Tiffany. But look at that.
That's great.
It's very nice, that one.
It's called
Classic.
the CT60. I remember
Exactly.
when this came out.
Mm-hmm. And a nice bag also.
You know, the very last time I was at one of your restaurants, it was in Tiffany, and I was picking up a watch from Tiffany, and they said, "Would you like a reservation at the Blue Box Cafe?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" And so, how did that relationship come about, having the restaurant within Tiffany?
Well, I was doing already some work for the Blue Box previously,
right.
But it was not the way it was. And we were doing also a lot of catering at Tiffany. And so I had some relationship. And when they were redoing Tiffany, I think they wanted to elevate the Blue Box experience. Yeah. Peter Marino was redoing the whole design. And so it was a great opportunity to enter into the bidding of that restaurant. And it's fantastic. Yeah. People love breakfast at Tiffany. People love tea at Tiffany. And it's one of the busiest restaurant in New York.
I believe it. When they said, "Would you like a table there?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Not realizing what that meant, but apparently it's impossible to get a table at the
No, you have to buy a jewelry or a watch. Then you can get a table.
Exactly. All you have to do is spend $50,000 on
do some shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So you're a bit of a car guy, I think.
Very much.
So tell me about this.
Well, that's another dream, is that I really want to do the Mille Miglia.
Me too.
I have friends that does it, and they want to take me. I have friends that have car waiting for me to do it.
So why don't you do it?
I have to find the time.
Yeah.
But this was, again, for one of my iconic birthday, a very dear friend of mine from Washington, D.C. He passed away now, but when I arrived in DC, he was one of the finest distributor of food and anything imported from Europe that was the finest. And Leon Pinto. And Leon was a very dear friend. And one day he came for dinner. I think at the time, I was at Daniel. I already had opened Daniel maybe, so it's 26 years ago or 27. And he came with a gift for me and said, "Daniel, I just want you to have this special watch." We were always talking about cars, always talking about Mille Miglia, and I love Chopard with their collection of Mille Miglia. There's always a relation to something red on the watch, and that's why the face of this one is fully red, but sometimes it's just a little mark of the Mille Miglia.
Yeah. And then we have a Van Cleef as well, which is kind of an unusual watch.
Yeah, again, relationship between business and friendship with the CEO, the president. We were doing a lot of events for them and all that. And in 2013, I was planning my wedding to Catherine, my wife. And of course, Van Cleef wanted to make sure that I had a beautiful watch for my wedding.
Yep.
So they had this beautiful model that has almost like a beehive.
Yeah. So cool.
Finish and Roman numeral. And it's a classy, beautiful extra plat gold watch.
That's amazing.
I don't know who does the watch for them.
They do it themselves.
They do it.
This is their own, yeah. Van Cleef is one of the great success stories.
It's beautiful. It's all engraved on the back, and it's a classy watch.
Yeah.
I mean, when you wear that, I don't wear suit as much.
Right.
So I don't wear night watch as much. But
when you do, you have options.
Yeah, I do.
And then finally, I see 3 watches that have royal crowns on them. What's the story with these?
Those 3 watches were gift from Queen Noor.
Of Jordan.
Of Jordan.
Right.
And Queen No used to come very often to New York. And she will stay nearby the Upper East Side, Café Boulud, and always come there. And whatever she needed, dinner at home or organizing something for her or anything, I was always there. And she was always nice. It was holiday time, and I'm sure that she may came with a suitcase of watch to offer to people she loved.
Yeah.
But I was always feel very, very touched by her generosity and her kindness.
So she gave you these watches when she would come?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, some of them, like one of them is a Tourneau that she must have, ordered for the time. And then another one is Longines.
Yeah.
And one of them has a crown also.
Yeah.
So I don't wear them so often, but nostalgia make that I like to keep them for now.
I mean, look, I can tell you, I've never received a watch from the Queen of Jordan. So, I mean, that's a pretty unusual story.
And that's the only queen who gave me a watch.
It's the only one.
I'm very proud of having this. Next queen. Voilà. How do you like that? What time is it? 7:45, the perfect hours in the kitchen.
This restaurant is an icon of cuisine, an icon of New York. You've mentioned some of the people that have been here, royalty, Mr. Rupert, who's a kingpin. Who, if you can share, are you still the most excited to see dining in your restaurants today, after so many years of doing this?
Of course, we have customers coming from all over the world and all over New York. We even have people that sometimes, live modestly in Queens or in Harlem, and they just want to make themselves live an experience that they don't have so often.
Right.
And we make sure we make those people very, very happy.
Yeah.
I love the fact that there's a lot of young parents, customers that like to bring their children here.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the most exciting things when I see a 10-year-old kid that is all dressed up and is pretending, is not pretending, is trying to be a grown-up.
Yeah.
And is tasting all the food and making comment on the food and all that. I think it's, to me, children are, they don't have the experience of the parents, and so it's very nice to have their naive mind looking at the work we do and also where they are and what's happening around them.
That's so fun.
But otherwise, of course, we always have the latest friend that came was Blake Lively, and she just came out with a new drinks called Betty Booze and Betty Buzz. And so, of course, from that, she decided to do a clip for Betty Booze, Betty Buzz here at Daniel.
Oh, cool.
And so we did that together. And we are serving Betty Booze, Betty Buzz everywhere.
Hey, really?
In all our restaurants.
Wow.
It's fun. So this fun collaboration started from just a dinner, a casual dinner, and having fun here.
Right.
And then wanting to do that. So you never know who's going to push the door and what's going to come out of it.
Yeah. And then finally, to end this, your dream watch, what would it be?
I think it will be a Patek.
A Patek.
Because as Patek has always said, it's not for yourself, it's for the next generation, for your children.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to work toward that.
You're going to keep working towards that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it should come from Tiffany, I feel.
It has to.
It has to. Okay, you guys heard it here first. First Patek will come from Tiffany. Chef, thank you so much for doing this. This was such a treat, sincerely.
I really appreciate it. And I hope to have you in the kitchen.
We'd love to.
And see your watch collection.
We'll talk about that.